I might get canceled for some of these, but I'm gonna say them anyway. Thank you guys so much for coming back. Y'all really liked my answering Vogue questions while doing my curly hair routine, so I wanted to do something similar with this one. It's gonna be my everyday makeup routine while I answer some controversial relationship questions. And first of all of my products I think are drugstore, and the few in here that are higher end, I do remember the dupes that I have for those that basically work very, very similar. I'm not going to be out here trying to tell you guys to buy more things in this economy. And then my relationship qualifications to answer these questions is that I am engaged to a man who goes above and beyond for me every single day. And anyone who knows me knows I've dated the absolute trenches of people. So I had to do a lot of mindset changes and life changes to be able to make this happen. So, okay. And my makeup qualifications are right here. I know what I'm doing. Thank you. Okay. So the first step is always want to moisturize. I use La Roche-Posay, this one. Literally anything is fine. Anything to where your skin isn't flaking will get the job done. Okay, so my first question is, how long is too long to be in a situationship? I also will be putting my glasses on and off for this video so I can read my script. But I think any situationship longer than like 2 months is too far, because I think a man knows whether or not he likes you within the first month, but I'm adding this extra month in case he needs a little bit of time. But if your situationship is going on for like 3 months, 6 months, just know that man probably doesn't want to be with you, which is okay. I'm all for being in situationships. People have their reasons, but don't expect a relationship to magically come out of a long-term situationship. I learned that the hard way. Okay. The next step is concealer. I use e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I use both the 16-hour one and the regular long-term one. I forget what they're called. Oh, one's hydrating camo concealer and the other one's the 16-hour long wear. Very similar. I think they do the same thing. The next question I have is, why do men keep you around but they don't want to commit to you? And you know, I think it's because honestly they are not good people, I think, if you're not being transparent with your intentions. But they do it because they want all of the perks of the relationship without any of the effort of the relationship. And so the way to prevent that is by setting standards for yourself. And you don't have to express these necessarily, but just knowing what you are and aren't okay with and advocating for yourself and being able to leave when you need to is probably like the most important part. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk and do my makeup at the same time. And I'm also always pro beauty blender rather than brushes, but no hate to the brush girlies, because I like them too. Okay. Next step is contour. The one I use is LA Colors contour stick. I like this for my nose. It gets the job done because the applicator is pretty small. My other face contour, I just use a darker shade of concealer, but I used to use a different LA Colors bronzer. Yeah. Okay, and then my next question is, what is the actual bare minimum for relationships? So I think this fully depends on if you're on a short-term or a long-term relationship. I think the bare minimum for a short-term relationship is just making sure all of your needs are being met. Wait, I fucked that up. Okay, so I think this fully depends on whether you're in a short-term or a long-term relationship. I think the standards are a little bit higher for a short-term relationship, just because I think they're setting a tone, first impressions matter, things like that of the sort. So for short-term, I think the goal, or like the bare minimum, should be all 5 languages should be met to some degree. And that sounds a lot harder than it actually is. So by that, I mean the love languages are touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and gift giving, right? So this could simply mean like he is physically affectionate, he says nice things to you, he can occasionally buy you like flowers, or this even includes like getting taken out to dinner, literally just some form of him spending money on you to show you that you matter. Not saying that money is the way to show someone that they matter, but I think it shows that they're willing to spend their earnings on you. And then as long as there's some form of quality time, and which one am I missing? And he does nice things for you here and there, I think that's the bare minimum, right? And that might be high standards. I'm not sure. It's just my personal preference. And then for long-term relationships, I think whatever your personal needs are, as long as they're getting met to some degree and you don't feel neglected in any way, that's what matters. So less about the love languages and more about your personal needs, especially because he gets to know you better. And so he knows more about what you specifically need in a relationship. Okay, the next step is blush. The blush I use as part of this eyeshadow kit, it's the Meredith X Morphe. I think I like these a lot because obviously I'm brown. These are more pigmented. It works really well and has blushes and shadows and literally everything you need in there. But literally, for blushes, I know NYX has some really good blushes. Like the dry ones. I'm not sure about the buttermilk ones. And then the next question I have is, how do you know if you're asking for too much? This might be my problem, is I don't believe in asking for too much. Like, obviously, if you're going excessive and having him buy you like designer jewelry or like hundreds of dollars of shoes or like things like that, that could be too much. Especially if he doesn't come from like a wealthy background or doesn't have a lot of money. But anything in regards to like your emotional needs and your physical needs and things about you that actually matter, whatever those needs may be, you are not too much. You are never too much, and you deserve to feel validated, respected, and supported in a relationship. Ooh, I kind of clocked that though. Okay. The next step is eyeshadow. I always ensure to put these pieces of tape on my eye just to make sure the line is very sharp. That's just a personal preference of mine. And then my next question is, should you ever go back to an ex? This one's a big controversial one, and I'm going to say it anyway. I think it's okay to go back to an ex. However, there's a lot of factors at play. It's simply not just, oh, I love him, let me go back to him. No, I think it depends on, one of the bigger reasons is it depends on why you broke up. So if you broke up because of abuse, because of cheating, because of anything serious, definitely not worth going back unless like some serious things have changed, you know. It's just my opinion. And then, but if it's like one of those, like you broke up for like mental health reasons or like life circumstances or like age and you needed time to grow, and then you can see that he actually did grow, he or she, sorry, I'm just saying he, but he or she, if you see that they actually have grown and that you would benefit from being in this relationship in a way you haven't been before, then I think it's totally worth it. On a similar track, I think it's important to analyze like what, not even the reason for the breakup, but the things leading up to the breakup, like any parts of the relationship you didn't like, and ensuring that that won't happen again. I think if all of those things can be completed, I think it's okay to go back to an ex. All right, my next step is eyeliner, and I've definitely used so many ones throughout the years, and I'm kind of combining them into one step, but this is the one I use right now, if I can find it. Okay, there we go. It's the Tarte Double Take. This is a high-end one. It has the liner, like the liquid liner and the pencil liner. The liquid liner I use for the corner of my eyes, and then the pencil liner I use on the inside of my eyes. Some other high-end brands I really liked is the KD Tattoo Liner. This liner lasts, like, when I fall asleep after wearing it all day, it lasts till the next morning. And the inner eye, I don't play with my inner eye safety, so I for a very long time used the Clinique one because it's ophthalmologist approved. But then you can also use some cheap ones. They totally get the job done too. I don't know about cheap inner eyeliner, but I know like the NYX Epic Wear is also really good for long-term eyewear. Okay. Do I want to do my wing right now? I don't think I'm going to do my wing right now, but so I'm just going to do the inner eyeliner just because this is going to get taken off anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to do my inner eyeliner. I'm not going to do the wing today. But if you want to do a wing, to break it down really quick, is I have hooded eyes, so you always want to look perfectly straightforward. And honestly, if you use tape, you could just follow the line you just did and then make sure you're looking straight, and you can draw a straight line from there to there. And that usually helps it look pretty sharp. Okay. My next question is, should you ever chase a man? You know, no. No, you should not. I think if a man loves you or likes you, you know. If you have to hunt this man down to text you back on Snapchat, if you have to hunt this man down to like go out with you or to do nice things for you, don't waste your time, girl. Do not waste your time. All right, I'm gonna do this out and I'll be right back because I can't talk and do my eyeliner at the same time. I know who I am. Okay. Okay, and then for context, you line the top of your eye and the bottom of your eye, and then you usually, I kind of do one of these. I did it already, but you do one of these, and it gives it like this like smudged like 2000s like messy vibe, but like it still looks good. Okay. Okay, and then the next step is lashes. This is an expensive lash curler. This is the Shiseido one, but it literally is totally worth every dime. But you can literally use the one from Elle for like $3. Like, it's not that deep. And then for eyeshadow, and then for mascara, I like to use I think this is the L'Oreal Panorama. This one's for volume. But for a long time, I did use the waterproof L'Oreal lengthening one. And it worked really well for a long time. The next question is, should you ever change a man? You know, I think this is a very broad question, so I'm going to break it down a little bit. I think you should never change anyone's, not even a man's, but a personality, identity. If a man says they are who they are, that is a bit of a red flag, but not the end of the world. Don't try to change that aspect of them. However, I do think it is acceptable to see, I can't do my eyes and my makeup at the same time, so I'm just going to talk. But if it's for like motivation purposes, like if you're helping them to get better, like if you want them to like put more work in their relationship or more work in their job, or like just to help out more, or things like that, like things that actually serve a purpose in making them better in a way that'll grow the relationship, I think it's totally worth it. But but never change like the fundamental aspect of who someone is. Okay, I'm gonna do my mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, and then the last thing in my routine is the lip combo. For the bottom, I usually go with the e.l.f. lipstick in the shade Power Mauve. It's giving like my lips but better. And then on top of it, I go in with the Glow Receiver Oil. This one's also e.l.f. and this shade is Rose Envy. Okay, so, and then my final question is, how big of a deal is doing stuff on the first date? Because I don't know YouTube's rules if they're like Instagram and they take things down, so I'm going to use different terms. Honestly, okay, I honestly don't think it's a big deal at all. I know people say wait till it's serious, and obviously it's all about boundaries and personal preference and things of the sort. But in terms of like a man liking you or a person liking you, if someone likes you less because you did the same thing they did on the first date, that's not someone you should be with. Also, but the con of sleeping with someone on the first date is that it can cause like false oxytocin, and you might think you like the person a lot more than you actually do, which is a problem. But that's more of a play it by ear situation. But I would say don't worry about it as like, oh, will he like me? He won't like me, but I want to, but like I'm scared. Like, no, don't have it like impact how you think about yourself based on what they say. Clock it. Thank you guys for watching, and I really appreciate all the support, and I will see you soon.